I'm Matt with Let's Talk Music, and I am here with Mike Fitz of Bad Marriage. How we doing, buddy?
Good, man. Glad to be here.
Thank you for being on. So
You got
first
it.
off, I just want to say I already love you guys. Um,
Really?
yes, just now heard you when she sent me the press release, and yeah, you're my cup of tea. I mean that's the music I grew up on was the glam the hard rock of the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, we just call ourselves a rock and roll band and we just try to write badass killer songs with some memorable riffs and hooks and just really bring it home with the big guitars and just what we do.
Yeah, and I mean that was like the whole like idea behind that era was
Right.
the 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 rock and roll, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the big riffs, the solos. I mean, yeah, I loved it. I mean, I listened to Tear It Down, Broken, and 300 Miles, which by the way, all feature Jeff Keith of Tesla.
Yeah, yeah.
Another reason I love you guys because Tesla's like one of my favorite bands of all time. So I'm like, you got Jeff Keith in there, you got Tommy Skeoch playing and guitar with you guys, and Brian Wheat produced it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, these guys are the total package.
Yeah, it's surreal, the whole Tesla thing. If you want to get into that, that's cool. Like the way that whole happened, that whole thing happened and our relationship with them is just a whirlwind of awesomeness. We got an opportunity. We're a Boston based band, and I think it was 2019 or 18. Yeah, 2019. Um, we got an opportunity to open three shows around here: Boston, House of Blues, place in Portland, Maine called Aura, and New Hampshire Casino Ballroom in Hampton Beach. And we got a it was kind of last minute. It was about a month or so before. And, Tesla didn't know us. We'd been doing the rock and roll circuit around New England for a couple years, opening for a bunch of different national bands. And we got the call for the three little mini tour, we called it, for Tesla. And we just, by the second show, we were loading into Maine. And Brian Wheat called us aside and was like, look, I really like the way you guys sound. He said, I like the way you guys carry yourself. And, and then he's gives me his sales pitch. I got a studio in Sacramento and, I produce bands, blah, 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 blah. So me and him just kind of hit it off. And he's one of my closest friends to date. And that was 5 years ago. And he just kind of took us under his wing and we jumped on a bunch of tours with them. I think we've done about 50 shows with Tesla. And then, I mean, the Tommy Skeoch thing obviously is different because
Right.
he hasn't been in Tesla for I think since '07 or '08.
Long
Uh,
time.
but that's just crazy, even crazier how he's, joining our band to play guitar, and it's just crazy. I met him last year. Bad Marriage was playing the Monsters of Rock cruise, and he was chilling at the casino, and I said, that's Tommy Skeoch. I'm going to go introduce myself, and we just started talking about Marshalls and Gibsons and just stuff that we both love, and we kind of exchanged info at that point, I think, or stayed in touch on Facebook or social media or whatever, and we just became buddies, and I think I posted a video of me playing a riff of a new song idea, and he commented on it or something like he really dug it, and I reached out to him. I said, you know what, dude, that song's pretty much done rhythm guitar wise. I go, why don't you just rock a lead guitar on it? And he sent me what he did. He recorded guitar at home and sent it to me, and it's absolutely killer. So I can't wait to put that song out. But that's basically in a nutshell how everything happened with the whole Tesla camp.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the great thing about today's technology, man, is you can do that now. You don't have to fly somewhere else to meet with somebody or in a studio. And
Right.
I mean, it's got its ups and downs, but I know that like during the pandemic, that was a savior for a lot of bands because they weren't able to get into the studio. So they were able to share files with each other and put it together.
True. Right.
So I did read though that you mastered the EP.
Yeah. So just to go back a little bit, I'm sitting in my basement, which I have a recording studio type, we rehearse here too. Bad Marriage rehearses here. So it's kind of one big playroom, I guess. But, yeah, I record everything Bad Marriage does. And so I mix it and then I master it. I kind of fell into it because we wanted to save money when we, started the band, we were trying to
Right.
cut costs. And I said, well, I'm going to teach myself how to, record and mix and stuff. And I have plenty of friends that do it. So I had a lot of their help and could pick their brain about it. But I started getting into mastering and really going down that rabbit hole and, buying a lot of mastering, based analog gear, which is not cheap, which is, why I don't drive a nice car. Um, but and that was a little niche. Me and Brian, he was producing bands and he would send me stuff. I said, look, I'm starting to be trying to be a mastering engineer. Send me a bunch of the stuff that these up and coming bands that you're producing, and I'll do my thing, and you can say it's great or it sucks or somewhere in the middle, and I'll do it as many times as you want until it gets to where you're happy, and that's why we kind of started building a relationship with that. So he started sending me some songs to master, and I've done a lot of cool stuff for him. I mastered a couple of the new Tesla singles. I mastered a couple tunes for Frank Hannon solo stuff. I did Dave Rude, who's the guitar player in Tesla, he was just an unbelievable dude. He's been in there for a while now. He's got a solo record coming out. I think it was 12 or 13 songs. So I mastered those. So it's been pretty cool, man. It's fun. I like that end of obviously I like playing live and stuff, but I like the recording and the mastering aspect too. So when Brian produced this 5-song EP that we just dropped, I got to at least have a little bit because I was giving the reins to him to record and produce, where I was doing all that stuff before we met Brian.
Right.
So he kept me on as a mastering engineer, which I think was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, I look at your videos and it really, I can envision the kind of band you guys are live, full of energy.
Yeah.
Just, you know, just killer rock show, man. And I know, you guys are getting ready to go out on the Glam Slam Metal Tour Part 2.
Yeah.
Enough's Enough and the Quireboys.
Yep.
Kick that off next Friday in Springfield, Missouri.
Yep.
And it ends July 29th at the King of Clubs here in Columbus, Ohio.
I've heard a lot about that place. One of our friends who he's coming on the road with us. He's kind of like he's a photographer. He can help move gear around. He can help manage the stage. He just moved here he's originally from Massachusetts, but he was in Columbus for a while. So he was actually telling us about, I don't know, last year that we should try and play that place because it's really cool. So we're excited. We're excited to be there. Tomorrow we're playing with Lynch Mob right down the street from us here. So we do have a gig before that tour starts. So yeah, I got that on my mind. And then after tomorrow, yeah, it's all going to be gone for a month. So I think it's 23 shows in the month of July. So it's going to be busy July. So we're excited about it.
Oh yeah. What's your buddy's name?
His name is John. I don't, are you going to be at the Columbus show?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I'll introduce you. Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious because there's another photographer from around here that his name's Gabriel, and he's the same way. He can help with the stage. I mean,
oh, cool. Yeah, yeah.
They book him for a lot of photo shoots for the smaller gigs and stuff. But yeah, cool. King of Clubs is amazing.
Awesome.
It's owned by a dude named Cue Ball. He sings for X Factor 1, so he knows what it's like to be in a band.
Right.
He has a lot of like local get-togethers so that people can get showcased. You know what I mean? He's had some pretty big names in there, and I mean it's an actual really cool place. I mean, they're actually having a party. It's their birthday bash this Saturday.
Yep.
All night long, $2 drinks, $2 beers, imported and domestic, and $2 well drinks.
Man, that's deadly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People are going to be all kinds of fucked up there, but
that's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it is. It's not overpriced. I've done some interviews there, which, I had mentioned to Shauna that I'd like to talk to you guys again when you come into town.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Yeah,
I was like, the green room's really nice there, although it's not air conditioned. So in July, it's probably going to be hotter than shit.
that's all right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool place. And I was like, man, that's really cool that you guys are ending in Columbus. Cause I mean, I haven't seen Enough since, God, late teens.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
They're such a great band. They're all really nice dudes. Chip will just call me randomly on the phone, and when you have guys like that calling you, yeah, there's business to talk about, but he'll just shoot the shit. He doesn't, he doesn't rush off the phone, and I'm trying to be courteous, being like, all right, well, have a good night. He's like, so what else is going on? He's just a straight up dude who wants to talk rock and roll, and he lives it. So the guy's a legend. So he's just a good dude.
so I mean, you guys are a rock and roll band, but do you feel like you're part of, where I said, you're kind of my cup of tea from the 80s genre? Do you feel like you guys are that type of music?
I don't know. I mean, some songs have that flavor. I mean, we have new songs that have a metal edge, kind of like like the British style stuff, like the early Judas Priest. I mean, we cover Priest, we cover a Saxon song, Denim and Leather. We do a lot of stuff. When we do a Zeppelin medley sometimes, because when we're not like on this tour, we'll probably get to do, I don't know, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But when we play around here, we have to fill 3 hours,
Oh, shit.
because
Yeah.
yeah. So we do a lot of our own and a lot of covers, but we'll do old school Aerosmith, we'll do Zeppelin, we'll do AC/DC. So, um, you know, we touch on again all the stuff we loved growing up,
Hmm.
So, some people say we're a baby. A Chip calls us a baby Aerosmith. And some people say we got Zeppelin vibes and AC/DC, so, but we're just trying to be Bad Marriage and kind of carve our own path and have our own sound.
Right. And that's what I read in the press release, that, it says you guys pay homage to British hard rock, but etching your own signature sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good description. And I mean, you can tell that in the songs. You can see it in you know the guitar work and stuff. I mean, I like I said, it just immediately caught me. I was like, oh my god, this is my shit.
Awesome, dude. Yeah.
And so now you guys just released the EP Artificial Mind,
Yep.
but you also have two full-length albums titled Bad Marriage and Bad Marriage 2.
Yep. Yep. And I love those, and we have them on vinyl too. I'll give you, if whatever we have. When we see you, I'll give you a vinyl. I don't even know if you collect them, but
Yes.
um, one thing we really try and do is spend the extra, funds on really putting out good product, like hard copy. So for the people that still do like buying CDs and
Hmm.
still do like buying vinyl, we try and go the extra mile, like, with the artwork, everything's custom drawn. And we just really try and make it so it's worth it. When you get that thing in your hands, it's like, all right, these guys are for real, because, not only are their songs good, or, you can tell that they know what they're doing or whatever. They also, because when I was a kid, I used to love looking at the packaging, and what I mean, open, the covers, and on our vinyls we have the gatefold that open up, and we have different like scenes that of us and stuff. You'll see what I'm talking about, but it's pretty cool. And yeah, so those are the two full lengths we have out. Bad Marriage self-titled, and then Bad Marriage 2. Yeah. And there a lot of good stuff on there. I hope you can dive into that, soon. It's really
Yeah,
good.
I dig vinyl, man. Now I'm the same as you. I was when I was a kid, and I've discussed this many times. It was cassette tapes for me.
Yep.
Uh, I loved cassettes, and now I actually have went and bought an old it's a like a retro style Victrola record player. It's
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
big old dial on it and everything. And
That's
yeah, I
awesome.
mean, I've got a few. My wife actually bought me one for Christmas, and then she bought me some albums like what was it, the Eagles, Zeppelin, and Leonard Skinner. Since
Awesome.
then, I've acquired some from concerts. I've
Yep.
actually went and did interview there at the King of Clubs with Saliva, and
Yep.
got an album signed by them, which, Wayne just passed away not too long ago.
Right. Yeah. Of
And so I got that album signed by him. So now it's, got sentimental value.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's just cool, man. I mean, like, I wish to God I know knew what happened to all that stuff, because
Yeah. Well.
I have none of my cassettes, CDs, records, nothing left. And I mean, I talk to people that are, in their 60s now, and they're like, "Oh man, no," they'll show me they, got 10 milk crates full of albums, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"How,
Yeah.
how did you keep all that all over these years?" And it's just, I wish to God I could find them, because I mean, you
Well,
still can find stuff to play, CDs and tapes on.
right. Well, I never really got into vinyl because it scares me because if I like to collect stuff.
Hmm.
And my like vice is along the same lines. It's vintage concert T-shirts.
Okay.
So that's what I really like. And you know, I find those people that either went to every concert and bought a shirt and just maybe didn't wear it or saved them. A lot of people got rid of them. A lot of people wore them till they fell off.
Right.
You know, so I like that stuff. But yeah, I have so many friends that love vinyl and collect it. So, but in a band, like us, trying to just make a name for yourself, you kind of have to have vinyl these days because you kind of have to have everything, because now vinyl's making a huge comeback. So you want to have it. We've had, when we didn't have it, we had a lot of fans come up and say, "Hey, you guys got any vinyl?" And we kind of all looked at each other after a couple times and said, "Look, we gotta make some kick-ass vinyl because people are asking for it."
Right.
And for every person that says, "I can't believe you guys still make CDs," there's 10 others that buy it
Yes.
because they still love CDs, and I love CDs too. So,
Mhm.
you just got to have kind of all ends of the spectrum these days if you're trying to, get your name out there.
I remember I want to say it was that same show with Saliva. It was one of the bands that opened up for him. They were out of Minnesota.
Hmm.
Young guys, really kick-ass band. They had a cassette tape, and I'm like, "Holy shit, man! You guys are gonna put out, cassette tapes?" And
Yeah.
he said, "Yeah." He said, "But the problem is finding something to play it in." He said, "We were actually talking to Walkman, to, Sony, to see if they'll bring the Walkman back so that we can sell the tape and the Walkman together."
Yeah, though, that's pretty cool.
I was like, "Yeah, that's a cool idea, man. I
It
mean, nostalgia right there. I mean,
sounds expensive, but it sounds cool.
well, yeah, I mean, but you know what? I think that, how it is, kind of like that quantity discount pricing.
Yeah, yeah,
The more you
yeah.
buy, the cheaper you get it, which is just kind of smoke and mirrors. But
Right, right. No, I get it.
so, how long you been in the biz, man?
I mean, me and our drummer grew up kind of together. We've been playing basically in the same bands for since like 97.
Okay,
So what is that? I don't even know, 20 something years. So
roughly.
20, what is it, 26 years or something? I
Something.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do math, man.
No, me neither. But yeah, so all the guys in Bad Marriage have been doing it equally as long, if not longer. We all kind of met around the New England or Boston rock scene. So when it started Bad Marriage in like 2015, 16, around then, I kind of handpicked people that were just I knew from the scene.
Right.
Like, well, this dude I know is super cool. This dude I know can sing his ass off. And, I took my drummer because I know him and me and him just work so well together. So I, kind of did it like that. And yeah, here we are. Obviously the Tommy thing is the latest acquisition, but
And Mike Delaney, that sounds familiar. I can't. What did he play? Like, who else did he play for? Do you know?
no, just he's been with me forever. Yeah, it might just
Huh.
be a name that you know,
It
sounds
just,
familiar.
I know I've heard it before. Yeah, it's ringing a bell. But
Right.
yeah, man. I'm glad that you guys are getting out there on this tour, man. Because I mean, that, like I said, that's my cup of tea. And man, Columbus. I'm sure that you guys have been through here before, but Columbus is it's a rock and roll in a metal town. You know what I mean? It's we have like a couple of big, huge country concerts a year. They put one on at the Horseshoe at Ohio Stadium. Uh,
Okay.
it's like Country Fest or whatever. That usually packs the stands. But I mean, we have Sonic Temple that just went through here. We got Incarceration coming up. We got Picktown Palooza coming in July. That's got like Lita Ford, Steelheart,
Oh,
Slaughter.
cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lynch Mob. Yeah, it's just that's that kind of music is like really making a comeback, and I love it, dude. And it's like my son, for one, he grew up with me and music and everything, and he turned me on to some of the newer stuff, like oh Hawthorne Heights and bands like that. But
Right. Yep.
um I was just always arguing, like, 80s metal, 90s metal, I don't care, blah blah. And and there's a reason for that, because I feel like every decade of music stems from the previous.
Right.
And I feel like the 80s and 90s movement is still people stemming from it. I mean, because there for a while, you had grunge that rarely had any guitar solos in it. Then
Hmm.
you had other music, hard music that was coming out, but didn't have any guitar solos in it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where did the guitar solos go? That was like always one of my favorite parts of the bands back then. I mean, I didn't give a shit if it was Megadeth, Metallica, or freaking Extreme.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, just hearing them guys shred was all part of that freaking genre.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, man. I mean, you guys get out there and shred a lot.
We take it song by song. We don't with us. Like, again, I'm the one who's kind of behind the helm of the song, the recording and the arrangement and everything. So, um, you just know when you're writing a song if there should be a badass guitar solo in it. You're like, that's the guitar solo spot. It needs to be there. And believe it or not, some songs don't call for it.
Right.
Um, but and then there's other songs where there's kind of guitar leads over everything. You
Mm-hmm.
know, a new one we're coming out with, Tommy plays over like literally from the start of it. He's playing stuff all the way through it, and it sounds killer.
Oh, yeah.
So it just depends, I think, on the song. One of our fan favorite songs we have a video for. It's called Old School Stereo, and
I was just listening to that.
very, very minimal leads in it. There's little stuff, but there's not one big epic guitar solo. And even looking back on it, I don't think I would put one in there, just because the song moves along, and it doesn't, you don't feel like it's missing. So that when I feel like something's missing, it's usually a guitar solo. So I guess just case by case.
So what is like your favorite guitar to play?
Uh, the one that I play now, it's a Gibson Les Paul. It's called an R9, which is a 1959 reissue.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the 60th anniversary of the 59. So that puts it it's a year 2019. And they took like extra special, whatever they did to make it literally exactly like a 59. So it's just, look, I have a lot of guitars. The one in the back of me, that SG, I got that from Frank Hannon. Um, I got a gold top here somewhere that Tommy left here for me. Um, I have another Les Paul custom that Brian from Tesla gave me. I have a lot of Les Pauls, but that one, yeah, my R9 is just, it's like your security blanket,
So that's what you're taking on.
It took me a long time to find it. I have a lot of other guitars that I love. It's just that one is something about it. It just feels like you're putting on, your nice worn in pair of slippers or socks or something, like, you know, uh, or a leather jacket that's just perfect fit because you broke it in.
Right. Well, and I mean, the SG is fitting. You said that, in the beginning you liked my shirt and you showed me your Angus tattoos. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I love SGs, but I've always, this just feels right when I strap on a Les Paul. And I got this black one right here. This is one of my favorites too. It's a 1992.
nice.
And it's just so badass. But yeah, I've always been a Gibson guy, but the Les Paul just kind of feels right to me.
So the 59 reissue, are you taking that one on tour with you?
Oh yeah, yeah. 100%. I'll bring one backup Les Paul. I think we're each just bringing two each. As
Oh,
much as we want, as much as we want to bring a ton, we don't have that much room with what we're traveling in. So I think if now we have three guitar players, so that's six guitars plus our bassist will bring two, so there's eight. So it adds up.
oh
The
yeah.
the room gets smaller and smaller.
So now you guys are based from Boston. Are you still in Boston now?
Yeah, well, when I say Boston, it was funny. I was just talking about this. I think it was yesterday on another like Zoom type interview. Um, I always mention the Aerosmith thing. You know, Boston, like we're all from towns in Massachusetts.
Right.
Um, we rehearsed in Boston for I'd say 7 years. I used to live in Boston. I lived there for 11 years. My drummer basically lives in Boston. But yeah, I mean, Aerosmith was not really from the actual city of Boston.
Right.
Joe Perry grew up in a town right next to me in Massachusetts.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I mean, Boston's the music hub, the city. So, um, but yeah, we're still in the general area. We're all in Massachusetts.
So what was I guess the whole logistics behind starting off in Springfield, Missouri?
You know what? That's out of my hands. That was something put together by Enuff's booking agent.
Okay.
They just figure out the routing and they tell us where to go, and we just say okay, and we'll see you there. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna leave a couple days earlier than the 30th, which we kick it off in Springfield and just drive out there and start from there, and then we just kind of go.
Yeah, now them guys are still out in LA, aren't they? Enough's enough.
I don't, again, one of their guitar players lives in Massachusetts,
Oh,
so at this, I think they're just all over. I think Chip lives in Chicago. I think
okay.
I'm not. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but I think that's right. So they just probably will fly or into a mutual place, get in a van, and go.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I just you think of them guys though, you think of the LA scene from back in the day, man. I
yeah,
mean,
right,
it's I can't wait. I'm seriously really excited for this to see all you guys because I mean that I just I don't know, man. You don't see many bands anymore that kind of bring back the memories of that time,
right.
and
Well,
those were some of the greatest days of my life, man.
yeah, we're trying to keep it going, man. We're just trying to do what we love and just get, find as many like-minded fans along the way as we can and just build a small army of Bad Marriage fans. I mean, that's just what we want to do. And as long as we keep finding people, we're going to keep making the music. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as we're doing some good shit, we're having a blast. So, that we're happy to be on this tour because it's a lot of places we haven't played. And I don't think we played. I know you mentioned we probably come through Columbus. I don't think we have. I know we played somewhere with Tesla in Ohio. I'd have to look back. It was a huge place. I think it was a hockey arena style place, but
Okay.
but it was amazing. But
If they're hockey arena, I mean, I'm not sure how many there are in Ohio. I
it
know
was
we have.
college. Yeah, I think it was a college hockey arena. I forget.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah,
But
man, it's you'll see when you get here, man. You'll be welcomed with open arms. I mean, the people are gonna just they're gonna love you, dude. Because
awesome.
like I said, there's I mean, there's several genres of music, but here in Columbus, I feel like rock is the most prominent fans. I mean, you got the Newport Music Hall here, which is, the longest consistent running rock club in the United States.
Right.
Used to be the Columbus Al Gore. Speaking of which, and I've told this story to a few people since you're an Angus fan, my brother drank a few beers with Angus at the Columbus Agora in 1978.
That's insane.
Went and seen Bon Scott and all them, and I was like, every time he tells me that story, I just want to punch him in the face.
The one patch I have on this vest, and that's Bon Scott.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, man. I mean, I mean, he talked to Bond, but he was drinking with Angus, and I guess some bodyguard come up and was getting ready to throw my brother off the stool, and Angus was like, "Ah, nah, man, he's cool." And
Yeah,
they sat there and partied for like an hour or so, and then of course, management started shooing people out. But I mean,
that's
I was like, dude, I really kind of hate you for that. I was like,
right.
I mean,
Yeah. His life is complete.
right, right.
That's
And
that's crazy.
he's a big music fan. I mean, like he's lived out in Vancouver, Washington forever. And he just moved to Alabama because he wanted to be a little closer to
Mhm.
me. And he's like, "Hey man, this Texas Hippie Coalition's opening, or they're playing a show in Bristol, Tennessee." He's like, "It's like 6 hours from your house, it's like 6 hours from my house. We can meet up." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Hey, I'm game," but that
yeah.
that's the people, man, I surround myself with. I mean, my wife's not huge into music, but I mean, most of the my friends, everybody, always been into music.
Awesome. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I hope we can hang out. I don't know. Obviously, it's a long way from now, but if we can roll in there earlier and hang, I will be around all night anyway. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, it is the last show, so
right, right.
just one more question, man. You guys wrap this up, the 29th in Columbus. Well, what's the next as far as shows? Do you guys have any future plans?
No, yeah, we do have a lot actually on the schedule. I'm not in front of it now. Um, like I said, tomorrow we got Lynch Mob, then we got 23 for that tour. We do have some shows booked in August. I know there's already some booked in October, September. So yeah, we do have a bunch lined up. But other than that, our goal is to get some material out with Tommy involved. So, obviously he's going to be rocking with us on tour, but we want to get a video done of one of our new singles featuring him. Obviously, yeah, and I think people will really, really dig that because he's just the stuff me and him have been working on when he comes here. I got to pick him up from the airport in a couple days. He sleeps right down here in the basement. He wakes up to all these Marshall amps and he loves it. But
Uh,
yeah, so it's just the stuff we've been working on together, and we haven't even had that much time because we're doing rehearsal for these songs for the tour. But we'll pick up guitars and I'll show him a riff and he'll show me one, and so I think we're going to come up with some really cool stuff because it's already meshing really well.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, I will let you go. I appreciate you being on. I appreciate, all the information. And man, definitely stoked about you guys coming here in July. In the meantime, safe travels and, best of luck out there.
Awesome, man. And yeah, just give me a call and when we're close and we'll hook up or whatever. And remind me, I'll get you a vinyl and we'll sign it for you and all that.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good evening, man.
All right. Thank you. You too, buddy.
All right.
See ya.
Bye. Okay. And